Stop looking for life to be easy. Stop trying to find the path of least resistance in life. Stop looking for some shortcut for how to get rich or how to quickly build a business so that it just earns you money, or how to just get some quick sex, or how to just get any kind of job so you just have a job. Stop with this bare minimum approach to life. Counterintuitively, as I said in part one, life is very counterintuitive. Counterintuitively, the easier you try to make your life, the harder it's going to be. But if you deliberately challenge yourself and you are the one who sets the challenges, you don't wait for life to come challenging you. So that you're sitting at home watching TV and then you're waiting for the end of the month to roll around and then you're waiting for your landlord to come knock on your door asking you for your payment for your rent, rather than waiting for life to come to you and demand things from you. Flip the script on that whole thing. And you be the one that sets the challenges. This is so crucial. By challenging yourself, you get to live life on your terms. And then that strengthens you up such that then the demands of life, they don't overwhelm you and you can easily deal with them. And then also, you're much more passionate about your own challenges because you get to choose them and you get to choose the challenges you're passionate about rather than the challenges that are enforced upon you from the outside, things that other people want you to do or that society demands of you, because you might not be passionate about those things. You might not find those things to be meaningful. Be wary of shortcuts and magic pills. Usually they don't pan out and they end up wasting your time. You go from one shortcut to the next shortcut to the next shortcut, hoping that it's going to make your life easy. But actually what you end up with in the end is you end up with nothing because you haven't actually built anything stable. Focus on building stable things in your life. There's a stable way to build a business that's grounded in a deep foundation, or there's a flimsy way to build a business. If you build a business in a flimsy way, sure, it might make you some decent money for a few years, but it's going to crumble, and in the end, you're not going to have anything left that's going to pay you dividends. Whereas if you focus on building a solid foundation for your business, it's going to take longer. Might take you 5 years, might take you 10 years to do that. But once you do it, that foundation will be so solid, it'll pay you dividends for a long time to come. And not just that, but the skills you learn and who you have to become to build a solid foundation for a business, for example. That's the real gold of life. And it's not just business. I'm also talking about relationships, for example. I'm also talking about your health and your fitness. There's ways you can do fitness and health and nutrition that's flimsy or that's solid. Always go for the solid thing. What you'll find around you in society is that people are always looking for shortcuts. They're always looking for handouts. They're looking for the fastest, flimsiest way just to make two ends meet. They're not thinking long term. They're not thinking about the dividends that this will pay. They're not connecting the dots and seeing that if they build a deep foundation, then they're going to be able to build a higher skyscraper long term. Take the time to do things right, even though it's going to take more work and there's going to be less immediate payoff. And there's always going to be temptations to take shortcuts in your business, in your relationships, in the development of yourself, even in your spiritual pursuits. You will try to look for shortcuts, and eventually you'll discover that life is not about finding shortcuts. Look for the substance. Don't let people fool you with flimsy solutions to life's deepest challenges. You're going to get from life exactly the effort that you put into it. In this way, life is fair. Develop a strong work ethic. This is crucial. And I think that a lot of people these days, millennial types, are missing this. I think in past generations, our parents and ancestors and grandparents, life simply demanded of them that they develop a strong work ethic from their youth. Whereas now, as society is becoming more decadent, there's this glut of entertainment and games and movies and so forth, ways to stimulate yourself, that kids grow up and they get into their early 20s and they have no work ethic because they just coasted through life. Their parents paid for their games, paid for their movies, paid for everything. They didn't have to work until they got into their mid-20s or something. And by that point, you're like a lion who wasn't taught how to hunt because you've just been fed food from the grocery store your entire upbringing. You need that strong work ethic because how else are you going to actually fulfill on your vision and on all of your potential in your life? That takes work. Also, my advice to you is that you set a high standard for yourself. What you tend to get in life is whatever your lowest standard is. So whatever your lowest standard is for the house that you want to live in, that's probably the house you'll end up living in. Whatever your lowest standard is for the relationship you're willing to tolerate, that's probably the relationship you'll end up with. Whatever your lowest standard is for the kind of career or job that you have, that's probably the kind of career or job that you're going to have. Whatever your lowest standard is for how much money should be in your bank account, like, for example, if you're satisfied with having $10,000 in your bank account, that's probably how much you're going to have. And this goes all across every domain of life. Your physical appearance, your weight, what kind of food you put in your body. If your standard for the kind of food you eat is that you're satisfied with the cheap $2 McDonald's hamburger, that's probably what you're going to end up feeding yourself. But if your standard is that you want to eat high quality foods, then you're not going to settle for anything less than going to Whole Foods and getting the most wholesome kind of ingredients. And then if you say, well, but Leo, I can't afford it. But see, if your standard was higher, then you wouldn't settle for the excuse that, oh, well, I can't afford to shop at Whole Foods every day. You would go and you would find a way to get enough money so that you can afford it, because it all hinges on what your standards are. Most people have such low standards for all these different areas in their life. They're willing to settle for mediocrity.